Greetings, everyone, and welcome to your Enchanted Fairyland Vortex. And this is a very special episode we got going on here with all the dark mothers. You know what I'm talking about? I'm excited. I'm excited. So, of course, it's me, your official fairy godmother, in the place to be. You know what I'm saying? And can we have the goddesses go through and introduce themselves? Let's start. We're gonna start with our youngins up in the building. So go ahead, goddess Osa.
Osaranga, also known as the urban goddess. Yeah, I don't know what all you want us to introduce. I'm sorry. But hey y'all.
And we got Sha.
That'd be me. That'd be me. Uh, Shy, yes, or Shamira or Mira. I got a couple names up in here. You already know how they go. But I am a mother of three, loving life right now, feeling free and enjoying the vortex.
Yes. And then it would be me, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm actually only 25, so I'm younger than everybody up here, but you know. And then so we got Miss Radiant.
Oh, so you introduced me. Thank you. I am radiant. Hello.
T Boogie.
I am T Boogie, also known as Mama Tyrion, and I am here. We are here and ready and excited.
We are. So first, I want to put this in my, because y'all know my YouTube channel, we got the Q&A and everything where I be channeling and stuff. And then we have our other podcast, which is Mystical Magical Beings. And we are mystical magical beings. And so I would like to get into a few of our talents, you know. Of course, with me, I'm the oracle of all oracles and everything. I have the gift of sight. I be having premonitions. Um, I be traveling. Ooh, I be traveling. I be two spaces simultaneously. So I be here and then wherever the fuck I'm traveling. It depends on what's going on at the time. Um, I don't get into all the clairs because I got all of them. You know what I'm saying? I'm the oracle. Mm-hmm. I be talking to the dead people. Mm-hmm. And I'm a trans channeler for those that don't know. Okay. So, Miss Radiant, I just love all this radiance exuding from you. I would love for you to get into your talents and everything. Cause I mean, I could tell the people you want me to. I'm just playing. Go ahead.
No, be my guest. I'm just radiant. That's it. I'm just me. And being me, exudes wisdom. Um, I'm a healer. I'm many things. Just depends on what the need is in the moment. So I don't want to limit myself to um some names and some titles because I'm everything.
You better. The dark mother has spoken, okay? Because I'm everything I be, okay? I be what I need to be in the moment. That's nasty work. Ugh. All right, urban goddess, put us up on Sean.
Okay, so I do spiritual guidance readings, which are now known as Sacred Veil, Sacred Mirror sessions. I'm sorry, where I sit with people, I get assistance, tap into their angels, their ancestors, spirit guides, and I allow spirit to take over and give guidance. So I do that. I'm also a birth doula. I also do and facilitate sound healing and meditation, and I hold sacred space as a gatekeeper with psychedelic plants, plant medicines, so psilocybin mushrooms and other different medicines. That's something real quick and simple.
Right? Because you do it all too. Mama T, T Boogie.
I am a connector of people and spirits. I am, I am an animal communicator, apparently. This is interesting. So this cat just walked up to me who doesn't normally talk to me right when I got to get into being a cultural artist and all those things and connecting people. But apparently it's not just people. And I am many, many things and people. I'm sorry, this thing is tickling me. What was the question again?
We like
the
trans dancer too. I want to put that in there too.
certainly channeling has come across in movement and in interpreting where movement is coming from the body. So yeah, I'm also still exploring. I'm definitely an explorer, cosmonaut, all that. And yeah, that's just a little bit of it.
Sha.
Don't know I play all day. For
All
the people
day.
who don't know me, you gonna learn real quick. I am divine mirror. I am the reflection of all. I am source. I am everything, just like my goddesses just said. But truly, I do stand in the balanced reflection of all. That is what I do on a daily basis, amongst other things, of course. I've been channeling for a while. I've been a medium forever. Pretty much, I don't know what I don't do. You know, we wear them hats. So, but I take pride in a balance thing, being a reflection and a walking portal for many.
You better. That's one thing I can say about this panel. Up here, everybody is so talented, tuned in, and tapped in to the fullest. Like the gifts are gifting. Okay. So, my question is, especially for other goddesses at this time, like who are feeling that they got gifts but don't know how to identify it. As I have said previously so many times, so many people are gifted and they just do the shit naturally. You know what I'm saying? And don't call it a gift, but are the same people that are running around here wondering what their gifts are. So, do anybody want to touch on that? Like, what do you say to the people that's out there saying, I feel like I'm gifted, I don't know?
Yes, for those of us who are exploring and feeling like they're not finding, look to that inner child, the one who was given those clues all along. You know, what were you interested in? What was maybe suppressed at that time that has come back around? What keeps coming back and hitting you in the head? So we're always getting clues. It's just, you know, taking the time to interpret them.
Anybody else?
And I would like to add that those clues are still surfacing within your reality, within your consciousness. So if you feel like you may have gifts and you notice something cycling back around, or just certain things about yourself that people may be amazed by, or like you may just get this feeling that you can't really describe, but you just know something, or you feeling something or a different sensation. Hone into that and sit with it more. But more than likely, spirit is trying to get your attention about it already. So similar to what Mama Tyrion said, like in your childhood, you'll still notice those patterns happening right now for you.
Can I piggyback on that? Look to your fears. Those are the biggest clues, the signals.
Yes.
Pick those fears apart.
I would also like to add to pay attention to your reality and the people that you are attracting. Just like Shaw said, she is a beautiful reflection. She is a beautiful mirror. And so most of the time, the people around you that have particular gifts are your reflection. So you can tap in better with those who surround you to collect more data upon what your gifts are. Okay, y'all. So that was cute. So let's get down to nitty gritty and everything. Cause I want to talk about some stuff. Okay. So now what's going on with okay, where do we begin? I got so many things. Okay. So we're dealing with this, awareness of this matriarchal energy and women stepping into their power and all the things, right? And then at the same damn time, you got everything just overly sexualized. Our elders are like they twerking. They twerking on the sidewalk. They twerking at the store. What they doing? You know what I mean? They naked. And then the men are like, they gold diggers. They don't even really want my penis no more. They just want my money. You know? So, how do we come to this balance of understanding our power and exercising it in a way that's more higher vibrational than what's been exploited? Does that make sense?
I feel like it starts with learning how to operate within your heart space. It starts with knowing thyself. Everything that the goddess had said is on point, but unless you put the work in, you could learn all of your powers, but it could also destroy you.
Mm,
Everything comes with a consequence, especially if you're not working out of your heart space. And if you don't know who you are, you can be swayed left or right. You won't be grounded in who you are. So I feel like it has to start there because the powers are in us. They're no longer dormant. We use them every day. We just don't identify them because we're not present enough. So I personally say to so many people, have fun. Remember what it is to have fun because the load is very heavy,
mm,
but our powers need to flow. And the only way we can flow is if we let things go. So start releasing, start playing with your kids, start going to the park, start tapping into that inner child, like the goddess has said, but discover you all over again because who you are now is not who you were. And the powers are based on all of you. Not just what you desire, but who you are, who your ancestors, everything matters. But try to have fun with it. So that's all I want to say.
So I guess I'll chime in here.
we appreciate it.
I'm going to piggyback off of something she said, and that was that we need to know ourselves. Um, there is a lot of information being pushed out around here. A lot of people telling people who they are because their gifts appear to be familiar with somebody else's gift. There's a lot of yeah, I think that that's the biggest thing for me that I'm seeing is that everybody think that they got all these superpowers that they really don't have. Um, and they don't recognize that their superpower is them being their authentic self, right? Because we're all created with something, we're all an answer to something within this realm, within within this earth. And the only way to find out who that is finding out who you are, sitting with yourself, doing the work. We've been taught a lot of things that are ass backwards. We've been taught how to love everything outside of us, to nurture everything outside of us, opposed to doing it from the inside out. And so you have a bunch of people, and we have a world of people in an identity crisis. And that's where you get the the spiritual people who, and the spiritual grannies and aunties that's pussy popping on the handstand, excuse my language, but all the things. Like, we think that we have to do all this extra stuff to be seen. And to go back to the first, I think, question or whatnot, you said, I'm one of those people who naturally have certain giftings and not necessarily looking to know who I am. It's like, yeah, I know who I am. And it's weird to me when people are like doing all this extra stuff and I'm just being normal because you're saying that I'm supposed to be doing it this way. And so just feeling some type of way about that, but having to get myself in the position where I'm feeling okay to be me because other people are out here looking crazy and being La La Loopsy's cousin. And I'm sorry. So there's a number of things that, and the key thing is knowledge of self. If you don't know you, then you'll never know what gifts you really possess and how to use them. The idea is to, if you have things that you've experienced in life that have taken you off course, and you feel out of alignment, per se, for lack of better terms, it's important to do the work to find out why you feel in this place, why you feeling out of order, because our bodies are talking to us. And we know good and well, most of us, at least out here, when we are out of alignment. We may not call it alignment, but we know when something is off. We know when the behaviors that we have, like, I can very well be out here with no clothes on, right? And I know I'm gonna get all the attention. I know that, but is it the right attention, right? Like, what am I trying to draw to what it is that I'm doing? And so I don't know if I've answered the question, but
Yes.
I just feel like um we play too much out here. And for all the spiritual baddies out here that, want to be doing all the readings and doing all the things, and everybody ain't out here doing this because they trying to rape and rob the people. Like, it's about educating the people so the people can go and do and be what they need to be, because collectively it's going to work for all of us when we know who we are. Like, that's what this is about. It's not about raping and robbing, although I won't say that monetizing off of these things are not a thing, because it is, because it's people's time and people's time is valuable. So in that regard, I think and I respect people having their rates and charging for their readings and different things. But for y'all that's out here playing, y'all need to have several seats before you get sit down, for real, because it's time out for the game playing. It's people really out here that need to connect with individuals like ourselves, that need to heal. And we are the healers. We are the ones out here that are going to be creating the change. But if we playing with ourselves, then that means we playing with the people too. And yeah, it's not going to be okay. The end is not going to end well for you if you don't get it together. And I don't know why I went there, but I'm just saying I
Because you
went
need
there.
it to. You better. Mama T.
Smoke and mirrors. That's what made me think, because when you said we need to quit playing, I was like, well, I don't know, I need to play more. But I see what you're saying. It's like creating glamour without having that original intention of healing thyself, knowing thyself, in order to reflect that and assist with others healing themselves. That's the point. Unless it's not. Unless the point is to create all this extra illusion and more smoke and mirrors and confusion, maybe that's your thing. But all that confusion does come with some sort of response. There's going to be an equal and opposite reaction, or maybe more. So if you want to play, if you enjoy, the creating, you know, uh, untruth or whatever we want to call it, then fine, do that. But then go ahead and play that game.
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah, and to bounce off of what she said, as far as if we want to play with yourself, not other people's life. Play with yourself, because it's real out here. And if you can't heal you, why are you trying to heal somebody else? And why are you trying to tell somebody else what to do? Like, I'm not finna go out here or be out here trying to heal somebody. And when something is going on in my own life, or I have an ailment in my body or something that feels like something is off, and I can't lay hands on myself or give myself the energy that I'm pushing out to somebody else to heal, or even send healing to somebody else from myself. Like, if you are not even functioning on that level, you playing for real. Like, because laying hands on the sick, in the Christian world, laying hands on the sick, raising the dead, right? Like, that's a real thing. And because people don't see it, they're not able to see things like that actually happen. They don't think it's real, but it's real. It's very real. So yes, play, but play with yourself. And if being playful is something that you do to draw people, that could be a thing too, right? At what point are you going to become serious? Because if you draw them by playing with them, they gonna want you to continue in that path. Are they really going to be able to hear you or take on what you have to say if you plan? Like, so yeah, that's all I'm gonna be.
And I think on another side of that, there may not be, you might not feel like you are taking advantage of people. You might feel like you're doing what you're supposed to do, because we're not thinking of giving from our overflow. We want to serve, we want to heal others. And due to programming, we might feel like that means putting yourself aside. So I think that, that's something that a lot of us generationally have been programmed to do without realizing that it's doing everyone a disservice. And that's another way of, as you said, playing. You're playing with yourself, you're playing with your people when you're not pouring from the overflow.
I want to add to that as well. You can only meet people as deeply as you've met yourself. So it's a lot of people that's out here trying to provide guidance with something that they haven't, in an arena that they haven't even like reached the depth of. So people come to you in darkness, obviously, they're seeking help, they're seeking the light. And to play with something so fragile and mislead them somewhere to a destination that you don't even know exists yourself. I feel like that's like playing with people's mental health, like you playing with their livelihood. And that part pisses me off, because don't have do the work yourself first before you can deem yourself ready or even a safe space for somebody to enter to try to get the healing or the reflection that they need from you. But if you can't provide that reflection, don't even step out there. Like Sister Radiant said, like focus on you, So
Yeah. So, again, this is a real thing out here with women. We went off on a whole tangent, but to bring it back, like y'all was talking about the loss of identity and the loss of self and not really tapping into self, right? And so let's get into the heart space, because I feel like that's the foundation for a lot of women, is that their hearts have been broken. And especially during that childhood phase, you know, which causes it to, which causes them not to explore it, not to even want to, because you got to bring that shit up and bring it out. Bringing it up is what? Feeling it again. You know what I'm saying? Um, so like in that space, what is the advice? Because how did y'all come to that space? You know?
Are you saying a space of healing, in the space of healing, or in the space of
Go for
knowing?
it. A space of healing.
So for me, this has been a journey that has been going on for
Of
quite
course.
some time. However, because I allow myself to do the work, which is very painful. A lot of times we think that healing is hocus pocus, and we do 1, 2, 3, clap our hands, stomp our feet, and we are healed. And then that thing come back up in 2 weeks. Um, or maybe 2 years. You stay in a repeated loop, in a repeated cycle. What I begin to do is identify patterns, identify different patterns and cycles in my life. And once I can identify a pattern, then I would begin to ask myself, when these things come up, why do I feel like that? I felt this before. Like, what is this? Where's this coming from? Why did I behave like that? Like, what's really going on? And I just begin to ask myself questions, because in the pattern, eventually my body began to talk to me as well. My body began to do certain things. I would get different ailments, like I get these headaches or these stomach pains, or just feel real lethargic, just different things. Or my heart would start racing, like I got anxiety. And I know I've never had been diagnosed with anxiety or anything, but I'm feeling these things. And now I'm paying attention, because I don't like what's happening in my body. I don't like when I get in an argument or I begin to yell, because I'm so used to yelling. Where did that come from? Why do I always want to yell? Like, okay, so I begin to identify things. Okay, my mama used to yell, granny them used to yell. Yep, every time something was going on, there was yelling. What did that do? That made me go inward. That made me say that something was wrong with me, something, like all the things. I internalized everything from the time that I was a child to be against me, in the negative. Everything was turned out to be something negative, when a lot of times it wasn't something that I can even control, or there was nothing that I could do about it as a kid. I didn't have the mental capacity to even understand or understand how to operate or function in certain spaces. So now I've identified the space that it came from. Once I identify the space that it comes from, now I recognize that, okay, I have a choice. Like, I don't have to be like this still. Like, I don't have to allow this to stay. So, okay, now the question is, well, what do I do about it? Because it keep coming back and I don't know what to do. So as it comes back, I begin to practice doing something different. But your nervous system still has to catch up with, and this is something that I'm learning, going through all the healing I've gone through. Cognitively, I have it, but my nervous system is still out of whack. It's like, why do I feel these things in my body? Why do I feel like I just took 10 steps back when I know I just took 20 steps forward, you know? And so just allowing yourself to sit with those uncomfortable spaces in you that is telling you you have to do something, you have to say something, you have to be something. Like, no, just be. Just sit down, have a seat, take a pause. We've been taught that if we not busy, we not productive and we not nobody. But it's been in the times where I have shut everything, everybody off, out, and sat with myself and allowed myself to cry if I need to cry, to vomit up if I need to vomit up, but just to feel the pain of the heartbreak, the pain of the divorce, the pain of getting into it with my child, the pain of all these things. I allow myself the space to sit with it and deal with it. And I won't pretend like that shit is easy, because it ain't. It hurts tremendously. Like, it hurts. There ain't no way around the pain of it other than going through. What happens when you push against a pressure pipe? you gonna keep pushing, trying to do something different, and that shit is gonna explode. And now you having a whole mental breakdown because you just didn't allow yourself to rest in what you were going through. Our bodies are not actually trying to fight against us. They're trying to understand the new space that we're walking into. That little girl is trying to figure out if it's safe to come over here with the adult you. She's trying to figure out, okay, you saying it's safe, but why do I know it's safe? Like, how? But because we talk to ourselves so recklessly, and I'm speaking only about myself, like self-defecation is very real. Just being so nasty with myself, so hard on myself because I want to get it right, because I want to be better, because I wanted this, wanted that. And so learning how to, feeling very awkward and talking to myself kindly and softly, especially if it, for those of you that have been talked to harshly since you were a child, it's normal. You don't even know that you're self-defecating. You don't even know that you're putting yourself down. And so for me, really just paying attention to patterns, cycles, paying attention to how I feel when things come up, asking myself, why am I feeling this way? Where is this coming from? And it may not happen right away when you like, okay, where's it coming from? And then you just automatically think that it's going to show up. No, it might show up in a conversation you having with somebody. Them tears might drop just in the grocery store, like just randomly, but allow it to happen because your vulnerability is what is going to open the gates and the pathways for you to heal. But as well, if someone else is around, that is going to, they're going to be able to heal just off of the energy that you're releasing. Like, I don't know how to explain it any other way than that, but just paying attention to and being okay with sitting with yourself and asking yourself the hard questions, and accepting the truth about yourself when it comes. Because when you find out something hard about yourself, like I never would have thought that, I was being a horrible mom or a horrible friend. Like that's never my intention. But our intentions don't mean that people are not being harmed. Our intentions don't mean that there isn't work that needs to be done. So that's just how I go through my process. Everybody is different, but just learning yourself is going to help you to unlock the spaces of healing. And when people tell you hard things, don't always take it. And I'm a big component for this. Just being defensive and taking it like, nah, you ain't talking to me because that ain't me. Because nah. But I always, even though I do that to the people that I love the most, and I just be like, nah, that can't be me because that's not the reality that I see. That's not who I want to be. I still take that information and I go and I allow that information to do what it needs to do. I ask myself the questions. Well, was she right? Do I really act like that? Am I really a bitch? Like, and I allow that information. I don't think so. So, and then once I accept the truth, then I can move forward from those things. So,
how do you recognize the difference between a cycle or cycles, repeating cycles, and an actual spiral where, yes, there is cyclical movement, but you're still gradually climbing? So how do you recognize in your experiences the difference between a cycle and a spiral?
So a spiral for me, I'm going to use an incident that happened this weekend. I'm going to be very transparent. So out of nowhere, I just started feeling real, like I was feeling vulnerable. I started feeling lonely. I started feeling really insecure, just like out of nowhere. Nobody did nothing to me. Nobody said anything. Nothing changed. The patterns of behaviors around me hadn't changed. But it just showed up. And so now I'm like, is this a cycle or am I tripping out right now? You know? And so going through the process. So I've been using what is called the Supreme Mathematics to reset these days. And so I did the knowledge on, let me back up a little bit. I didn't do the knowledge at first. I didn't sit with myself long enough and allow myself to understand what was happening. Then I ended up calling one of my girlfriends and talking her ear off, probably sounding like I was spiraling out of control. And she reminded me, like, hey, you are going through a tremendous healing process right now. Like, you're not spiraling, like your body. And that's where I'll go back to the nervous system. Sometimes your nervous system is out of whack and it will have you thinking that you are still in a loop or even in a spiral when you're not. It's really a space of healing. But because we feel out of sort and we're not used to what's going on, our minds can tell us that no, we're back in this loop, we're going, or we're spiraling out of control. I'm not sure if I'm answering, but the best way I can tell if I'm spiraling is how long I stay in that space. If I'm not able to come out of it, if I'm not able to identify the why or what is going on, then now I'm going to say for myself, okay, like I'm crashing out right now. Like, I don't know what's going on. But I say that the spiral and the crash out for me are parallel, because whenever either one happens, I'm gonna dig, I'm gonna ask questions to myself, I'm gonna do the work. So we look at those spaces as negative spaces, but those are actually great spaces to be. Like, the world will tell you that if you're spiraling, something is wrong with you. But for me, my spiral is what has saved my life. My spiral has set me down. My spiral has put me in a place where I have to sit back and be like, damn, do I want to alienate everybody that I love and just kill everybody off, kick everybody out of here? So it's caused me to think. So that's it. I don't have nothing else right now.
Well, I mean, growth might mean that you alienate everybody. I don't know who everybody is, or kick everybody out, at least for the sake of, well, yourself and your own growth. Maybe. You did answer. But when I use spiral, I mean growth. Not that growth necessarily has to take place up, but I just mean as opposed to a carousel where nothing is happening. You're stagnant and you're just looping through the same cycle over and over again, and there is no growth. But growth can also look cyclical. So that's what I mean, not in terms of spiraling out of control or whatever control is. Yeah, but both. I see what you mean, but would you respond differently looking at a spiral that way?
So the being stagnant, I cannot identify a time that I've actually literally been stagnant. It feels like stagnation, but I'm always constantly growing and elevating. I don't have periods of time where I'm just like stuck per se. Like, and maybe that's a gift, right? Because I don't just be stuck. I'm constantly growing. I'm constantly in that space. So I don't know that I can identify a space of stagnation. It feels like stagnation. And I feel like I'm stagnant when I'm not getting what I want. So that's not really valid for me, right? Like, it's like, okay, it's not happening when I want it to happen.
That part.
So I feel stuck. But that's really the only stagnation that I experience, is when I want what I want and I want it now.
Now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes I get what I want when I'm in that space, like, no, this is about to happen. But in a healthy way, the ego must die the pride must die.
Yeah.
There's a space for it. There's a place for ego and pride. But when I'm in that space, for me, I know that's when I need to have several seats. So
I love what you said about stagnation, because that does not necessarily mean the absence of growth. It just depends on how you look at it, because we grow in many different directions. Like if you look at a petri dish, it doesn't just go one way, it goes wherever it can go. So that is really interesting. And you have me thinking about a time where recently I was like, wait a minute, if I just sit still, I get to realize how productive I am. Like there is a whole bunch of stuff just going on within my body that I can't even on the outside compete with right now. So, you just getting to know and understand that you are productive really changes the perspective on that. So again, I love what you said about stagnation. Growth does not have
And
to
that's a
just be
beautiful thing.
Mhm.
I think that right now in this space, a lot of women are going through that, especially coming out of this whole what they call masculine phase, this independent women phase, and all the things where your productivity is based on your self worth. Like I had that, you know. But to your question, cycle spiral. For me, it's that the cycle is or the looping, is that like, damn, didn't this shit just happen? Or something similar looking like that shit just happened. You know what I'm saying? And like she said earlier, like Radiant said, seeing the patterns. It's the same shit, just different characters. Like a lot of women will be in the same motherfucking relationship just with a different penis. The spiral for me is when I have this opportunity, most call it the crossroad, right? Where it's like you have this situation where it feels good because it's the known. Like this is what you normally do. And then over here, this opportunity is very fucking uncomfortable because it's the unknown. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for me, that's that spiral. Cause now like I have that opportunity to do the same shit and keep looping, or I can go to this space and be very fucking uncomfortable with the unknown and just trust. That's that motherfucking spiral.
Discomfort. Sometimes we call that pain.
Growing pains.
Mhm.
Did you goddesses have anything to add, Elsa or Sha?
I was just gonna add for me, honestly, Radiant hit it on the head with a lot of things. To answer both questions, if I can remember, she said identify. And being real with yourself is one of the most important things if you're going to heal, because they say you got to get tired of the same old thing over and over and over again. You living in a delusion if you allowing yourself to stay complacent in something that is, once again, not in alignment with who you are. So identifying that alone, like, okay, something got to change. I got to do something different. And it has to start what you identifying the biggest baggage you got. Bringing the shit to the table, whether you're talking to somebody or you just writing the stuff down. You got to start somewhere. You got to open the door, because we do spiral. And if you don't know what these things look like, if you don't identify your patterns, you won't know what chapter you in. I'm heavy on identifying the levels and the chapters, because it just, for me, it gives me clarity, right? Because I can identify a pattern that I've seen before, I done felt before. I'm like, okay, this is the same lesson, like y'all just said. But if you don't know, you don't know, right? And then you got to remember, people, places, and things will keep you in the loop. People, places, and things will drag you down. But when you start your healing journey, most likely isolation is key. because now you about to go within. Darkness is where we find ourselves. Darkness is where we play. Darkness is where we create. And you creating a whole different you because you tired of the bullshit. So be okay with feeling like you isolated. Be okay with feeling like I'm not doing what I should be doing because maybe you are. You in alignment. What your nervous system say? How relaxed do you feel? Are you still in survival mode? Because at some point you got to switch over and you got to value yourself more. It got to be a value of self all over again. It always come back to you because it's all about you.
Mm.
And majority of people that like they have the normal so-called powers, which is your clears, which is your intuition. We givers. We give. But at this point in time where we are, we got to start giving to ourselves because we elevating. And it is sometimes a spiral. Sometimes it's a loop. But them loops is real. So if you don't start identifying and start getting this baggage off of you, which is shadow work is a daily thing. Don't ever think it's just a chapter. Let's get these illusions out of our heads that people have given us. We've been walking blind for a very long time.
That's a bar.
In order for you to open your eyes, you got to be real. You got to be real.
That just made me think of I guess it's a gospel hymn or whatever, but I once was blind, but now I see, you know. But you don't see until you go into the darkness. Like you have to be courageous enough and brave enough to see yourself. Or instead
And
of
don't
just
your
being,
eyes always adjust in the dive?
yes, it will. It will. And sometimes it's okay to not be able to see nothing, you know, and being okay with not knowing what that next step looks like. Like that's part of that surrender too. Um, but yeah, like it's that the thought of like a tree growing or you planting a seed, like you don't see everything that's happening in the soil. You know, it's so much work that takes into putting that power into extending those roots and the electricity that flow through them roots before it even manifests into the physical. You know, so like I take a lot of time in isolation myself when I'm doing healing work where I will shut everything off and on the outside it looks like I'm being stagnant. But what I'm doing, I'm actually sitting there, I'm allowing myself to feel whatever comes up. I'm allowing myself to go to the root and address myself. Or if I see myself as something that's unfavorable, you know, not just chunking it up as, oh, that's just how I am. Like, no, that's a programming, that's a conditioning. And it started from somewhere. So just being honest enough with yourself and fully self-aware. Like self-awareness is the key. But to be so self-aware that you can address and see yourself from outside of yourself and call a spade, say, this is what I have been doing, get to the root of it, and then literally uproot that, chunk that root out. Now you have like a clear slate where now you can create and manifest in that same energy, in that same void that you have now created as a new energy to move forward. So it's so much rebirthing that's happening. Like even with myself, like I could see the change, I could see my glow different, and I'm not making the moves on the outside like I need to, but I've had so many different initiations and so many different gifts come on board simply because I allowed myself to address something that I tried to push down or address something that I completely forgot about that just popped up out of nowhere. Um, so yeah, it's so much magic in the darkness. You know, we birth ourselves out of that darkness. So yeah, I love how everybody explained it already. Like y'all so powerful as women. And it makes me just fucking happy. I don't we can't cuss on Facebook like that, can we?
Yes, we can.
Um,
Who said that?
girl, don't they be having I don't know.
Girl, this the fairy godmother child. I don't care what they out there talking
Every
about.
time
We in
tomorrow,
the
honey.
fairyland
Oh,
vortex.
we in a vortex, okay.
Can't you hear
Um,
me, Miss
but
Irving?
yeah, and then the key with that is like truly going back to the fairy godmother's question about the heart space. You know, like that's the way to get to that heart or find that purity in your heart or to realign with like the light that is within your heart because we experience so much that it hardens us, it darkens the heart, you know, and we really have to sit with that and release it to allow our heart to be light again and to truly be led by that heart because there's a lot of people that's led by ego And ego is simply the protection, that barrier that comes up to protect that inner child that no longer feels seen, heard, expressed, you know what I'm saying? Like, or just hurt. When you can clear that heart space, when you can go and clear out the root and clear out all that muck, the heart opens, and then you start to align with, the vibrationally with things that's supposed to be for you, versus you trying to figure it out mentally and create empaths. Like we can hijack the system all day. We can come to that fork of the road and say, okay, I want to go this way and implement ourselves in that way, but it will only last so long until you get to the root of what is actually going on. And I find that in that space, things just tend to align. Like you don't even have to work hard because you're truly tapped into the divinity within yourself, which is that light.
I just want to add something real quick. You said something so profound that people kind of miss. Being in an observer mode, like that's a huge, like it's a part of like detachment, kind of giving yourself a chance to not always participate in everything. That's the same thing as always moving, moving, moving. But in observer mode, you really do learn unconditional love. To kind of tap into what you talked about with the heart space, it's unconditional. You can't have judgment. Like he said, no judgment, no bias. You can't if you're operating out of your heart space. But once again, it starts with you loving yourself.
That baby second that motion. Radiant.
Oh, I just wanted to tell, is her name Urban?
Urban Goddess, Osa.
Yeah. I want to tell her, yes, honey, you are glowing and you are beautiful.
Yes.
You are so beautiful. That's all.
Bless you, love. I appreciate that. And again, I'm just your mirror. Okay.
Ow.
We all mirrors up here. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Mama,
Okay.
also, I heard you say something that almost sounded like a cuss word. You said that we don't have to work hard. What you mean we don't have to work hard?
You speaking to me, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when you align yourself to like that inner divine frequency, the next step you need, and in the midst of that surrender, right? You will start, like things will start to kind of just gravitate to you or fall in your lap. Like right now, like I'm in a space where before I was trying to work hard, I was trying to put my channel out there. I'm trying to do all the strategic things that, if one, is not my aura type or my design. I'm not strategic at all. I'm receptive minded, but I tried to implement and create a path that wasn't my path to walk in the first place. It's what I thought, or what I thought I was being conditioned to walk. So once I truly learned to sit still and surrender and sit with myself and unlock certain parts of myself by releasing energy and emotions and past storylines, opportunities start flowing to me. When I thought I didn't have resources for something, it just showed up. So I didn't have to work hard for those things, and now I got doors opening up. I have a webinar I'm doing actually with my human design mentor on August 8th, where we're collaborating, you know what I'm saying, and working on things to build for the future. So it's very something I never thought I would be doing. But it aligns that way simply because I stayed true to myself and I did the work for me, and I cut all the noise out and went within and surrendered. And now the work is showing up to my face. So that's what I mean by not working hard.
Okay. You cut out that resistance.
Yes, I stopped resisting, and I dealt with the inner resistance. I dealt with the inner resistance.
Everybody complete on that? I want to talk about isolation real quick. Y'all know how I be feeling about that. So I just want to say that it is always important to sit with yourself, tune out to tune in. I think that is so crucial. But not everybody can be on that type of time, in a sense that a lot of people spend too much time there. You get comfortable in the isolation. So as these goddesses are saying, like, know thyself, like, sit in your space, go through what you need to go through, bring out what you need to bring out, release what you need to release, and then get back with your people. Okay? Because we are so trained to stand alone and to be alone. And that's why we are in the space now where we got to even learn how to deal with each other. We got so many mommies out here that are by themselves, when it's too many mommies out here by themselves for us not to be working as a community, as mommies, assisting each other. But because we have been taught to be in isolation for so long, you know what I mean? Like, we got to learn how to have human to human contact. You know what I'm saying? So that's important. Balance is important. I want to make that very clear, because I feel like that's one of the things where that shit done been taken way too damn far. You know, we got couch potatoes and shit. Y'all watching me like y'all watch TV and you ain't living. Hmm. That's how that shit go
And
right
some
now.
people you go into that isolation to bypass the work, so I get it with that for sure. And please know when I say when I'm going in isolation, to the people who watching or may feel or see themselves in it, it's definitely not nowhere to go unpack and stay. It's literally to sit there and be very intentional with every second of the work and those thoughts. If you have that allotted space and time to do so,
Hmm.
because I also know everybody don't have that opportunity. I was just blessed to be able to be where I am and things being provided for me by the universe to where I could sit here and do this transformation. But
But I don't
it
want to
may
hear
be
that shit, cause like that's where you the author of your shit at, right? So
true.
like you gonna find the time, whether it's sitting your ass in that bathtub, okay, and through the vessel and see what's popping. Whether you got to let that baby cry on the other side of the bathroom,
I've had them nights, many of them.
okay, she just gonna have to cry
Yeah.
it out. Because in order for mommy to be mommying like mommy want a mommy and like you want me to mommy got to take care of herself. Okay?
Yes. I wanted to add on a piece too about I think it was a little bit more with the darkness. Okay, so even in the isolation, like the work that's being done in the dark is what will project outward. Like that pendulum gonna swing back. So the deeper you could go in your darkness, the higher you can ascend in your life.
That
If you go
part.
back deeper in your darkness, you're gonna extend even fucking higher in your life. Um, but you're right, it's a lot of single mommies out here who do need help and they may isolate just out of pain and sitting with their pain or coping, trying to find ways to run from the pain versus actually sitting with and identifying. Somebody said identify earlier, but identifying the pain. Um, I think that the space that we are in now and why a lot of women are being called into isolation is because we are about to step into community very soon and we can't show up unhealed. We can't show up projecting to the sisters, because we have been conditioned and programmed to be so ugly to one another. You know what I'm saying? And I think that this time, when we become more self-aware with self, when that time does come when we connect, we showing up from true heart space, and I think that that's vital, especially
It
for
is.
our Black melanated women. Like we don't need that chaos,
We don't need
so
it, but
we
that's
don't
what
need it.
everybody been saying here though. When you give it to yourself, it is my promise to you because I mean even Shaw can vouch for that. Like we are so used to giving, that you have a hard time receiving. But when you give it to yourself, like it shows up in your reality and it shows the fuck out. I mean, Shaw has been privy to conversations where it's like, yo, the people are like, how can we support you? And I'm like, I don't know. Because I don't even know how to receive. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but because I had been loving on myself, because I had been supporting myself, nurturing myself, all the things, that shit showed up and showed out in my reality. You know what I'm saying? And so, yes, it is crucial, like I said, to take that time to turn in so you can love on self and all the good things. Maybe really love on self, you know. Good juices flowing. But
Discernment.
ooh,
Discernment is key. Like you gotta have discernment because I look at isolation or darkness like another form of grounding. You gotta know when to do that thing, especially if you playing in them ethers. Like, come on now, you want to play the game right, or you get knocked on your booty. Like discernment, know when you need it, know why you need it. We are coming from a place of, being just flesh, and we learning how to be spirit now, remembering who we are, and we got to give ourselves grace. And a part of that is, when you need to shut down by all means necessary. Like AP said, let that baby cry. Let that baby go ahead. As long as the doors is locked, the baby can't get nowhere. The baby is fine. Everything put up, the baby fine. Do what you got to do for you. Sometimes breathing is the most unused tool in life for a lot of people. Just sometimes take a deep breath because life be lifing and things come up all the time. But if you could just take a second and breathe in, hold it, and then release, your nervous system calm down, you gain clarity, you no longer sweating, you ain't having no anxiety attack. So, we gotta learn how to find these little tools that we can use throughout the day that regulate us and ground us because sometimes we don't have the time, like God has said. Sometimes we can't, because we have obligations to too many people outside of ourselves. Those small things. Just find something that works for you. And it'd be amazing what it is. It doesn't have to cost anything. We don't put more on your plate. Find a small thing. I pay attention to kids a lot. That's how they operate. It be the small things. They resilient. They be over it real quick because they move on to something that is making them happy. Like AP said, why do we stay in the undesirable? If you don't want to be there, don't be there. If you don't want to think about it, don't think about it. But unless you ready, let them thoughts flow because that's how you'll gain your truth. That's how you gain your power. That's how you step into your authenticity. So, I mean, discernment, man, and stay in observer mode because the more you pay attention to your thoughts, the more you'll realize that didn't even sound like me. Wait a minute, who was that? You're like, wait a minute, that sound like my mama. Shit, I'm acting like my mama. Wait a minute. Then you start feeling like, okay, that's why I responded like that. That's why they went. Oh, you start putting pieces together, right? Connecting the dots, putting your own puzzle together, because that's what we are. Broken pieces trying to put ourselves together and just remember. So, yes, give yourself grace.
So I'm thinking what it means to intentionally connect with community is to recognize those pieces in others too. They show us the shape of ourselves. So yes, we have to do the inner work and it's familiar, but also we have to explore our reflections because it also reflects back to us what's within that we don't necessarily have access to because we didn't choose that piece to experience. They did. So fine. I'll pick up the phone sometimes. Is that what you're trying to say? No, I'm playing.
yes. Or answer the phone. Answer my text messages when I be texting you. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, moving on. So let's talk about emotions. Emotions. Okay, because the men out here be talking about we be crazy and everything. Our emotions be like, you know, all the things. Let's talk about it.
And they don't be lying. So
Wait.
I said, and they don't be lying a lot of times. Like we don't want to accept it, but we be out here acting like some unstable creature.
Look, speak for yourself.
Friend, we've been friends a long time. I'm gonna just leave that right there.
Not unstable creatures. All right, let's talk about it. I want to get into rage. Let's talk about the rage.
You didn't share this list of questions before we agreed to do this one.
Look, you know how I didn't even know how this what. I just got the download, get the goddesses together, so I did it. You know, this shit just be my human self don't know nothing, but I know it all. That's how it go.
What about rage?
Oh, okay. So what had happened was it's a lot of rage going on, and we seeing it. You know, you want to talk about the outside? We seeing Mama Nature go. Mm, 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 mm.
So
And rage can be looked at as very unruly, low vibrational. So yes, let's have a conversation about the rage. What are y'all feeling?
I will be forever grateful for whoever it was that coined the term secret rage, because it certainly does. It plays a very vital function, like with destruction. That's all.
Sacred rage.
Sacred.
I'm reminded of
wanna
Bill
add-
Burr's Floyd. Can you hear me?
Mama T, what you say? Hold on, Radiant. Let me pause your wisdom. What you say, Mama T?
I didn't.
Oh, go ahead,
Oh,
Radiant.
I
Somebody
thought
was
something
saying
about
something.
destruction.
Yeah, I was talking over Radiant, but she go ahead first.
Go ahead, goddess.
I was gonna just say, and rage is indeed sacred. There is so much power, raw, primal, untapped power and rage that we have become so disconnected from. Rage holds so much information. Emotions is information for one. But it holds so much information that can unlock the very purest essence, rawest form of us as women, but even the feminine energy in men. And that just made me even think about just how, other cultures fear our brothers so much when they're upset, because that energy is felt. It's very primal. It's something that they can't grasp, but they know they can't compete with. So this is why we are such threats when we are angry, and because men are so disconnected from their emotions, that rage comes out even more harsh, you know what I'm saying? But for women in the sacred rage, right? Yeah, we hold so much in that truly pisses us off, but we're taught to wear this mask of elegance and grace and to turn the other cheek or to not let somebody see you get out of character. When the fact is that every single emotion is meant to be experienced and we don't allow ourselves to experience it or process it and release it. So then now is trapped within our bodies, and in moments when we least expect it, we feel that rage bubble up because now our oversoul is pissed the fuck off because we didn't stand in our truth. So then it becomes this again rage of feeling unheard, unseen, neglected, pushed to the side, intentionally, just disrespected or like she's not given the space to show up fully, and that is something that makes that rage even more rageful. I don't know if that's a word, rageful.
Mhm.
So yeah, to sit with that rage and to allow it to come to the light is very, very sacred because that's where our power is. You know, that's where the part who is tired of diluting herself comes to life. And then that's when shit gets to shaking, you know, so.
No, and I like sacred rage because think about the moments that you have been enraged. Even observing men that are in this sacred rage. That is a completely different, it's a calm. You know what I mean? Like your emotions ain't so all over the place where you can't think straight. You are very calm. You are clear. And it's time to destroy, to disrupt, to course correct, to dismantle all that shit so that a new foundation can be built anew.
Agreed.
You know?
You didn't say anything about sitting in it, allowing it to consume. You didn't say anything about using it as a placeholder to experience other parts of the emotional spectrum. You said using it for what it's for and moving on. It's surgical, it's strategic. Judgment.
Absolutely. It's a necessary tool for expression as well. I mean, you think about the mama bears, rage, mess with my baby, it's on and popping.
Yeah, that
It's
ain't angry.
purposeful.
That's
It,
rage.
mm-hmm. It's purposeful, like you said, it's very divine and it has an effect instantly. So it's one of the most dormanted emotions that has been shunned for a very long time. Like even ashamed, like just to even express yourself in that manner. But it's time because Mother Nature, like you said, is doing her damn thing, and she is course correcting. Judgment is here. So I mean, even how it shows up in your vessel right now, it doesn't even feel connected to anger. Like at all. Like then at one point, I think when I was younger, rage, of course, because like you said, we was out here tripping. I'm gonna just speak for myself. I ain't gonna say we, but I've had my moments, and that's what all of that built up emotion. That's what that feeling of not being heard, and you snap into rage, especially when you're young. So, I mean, a lot of times it takes for a rage to happen for a life to be saved.
Nasty work. Ugh.
Oh. So you just made me think about these gifted, evolved beings, these children, not just children, but we recognize it in children, who are so empathetic, who function first through their emotions and are sitting around here amongst adults and people who have power over them who don't recognize those emotions that they have imposed upon them. And then they have reactions. Those are definitely rageful reactions. Like when you say, oh, that kid is being bad in a grocery store. No, that child has experienced all kinds of betrayal and disrespect all up to this point, and there's nothing left but to express and to
To
change the
move
direction.
it through the vessel.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
A lot of these children, they are operating in this 10 toes deep. These kids know who they are. They not with the old program. They might not, know the details of it, but they know they different. They know they not, they're not gonna fall for anything because they stand on something. Even if they can't identify it, it's like we will not be moved energy with these kids. And when they come for you, they're gonna come for you because they have their authority. The generation prior, we had to find it. It was taken away from us. These kids coming in, you ain't taking nothing from me. Try it if you want to. Like you said, fuck around and find out. And it's not in a disrespectful way, but these are our warriors that have reincarnated. These are the children that are coming for correction. They are here to implement judgment. So they can't be swayed with the old programs and the old thinking of, our ancestors or our mothers or our grandparents because they surrounded by people that unfortunately, they're not aware. They don't know. They still playing in the 2D, 3D. But these kids, they operating with a purpose and they just really need the guidance. And the only way that they can really survive is by staying in business and expressing themselves in a form of rage where I'm only going to say this thing once. You see these kids walk around with hoodies for the past how many years? In heat?
Mm-hmm.
Back up. I'm completely protected. I'm not about that bullshit. And they move with a purpose, distinctively. I'm going out to do this and that's it. He said, I'm going over here or I'm going to go do this. And that's what I did. So these kids are definitely different and they're showing us the way to really operate in our authenticity because most of us want to be like that, but we still learning how to, we still getting out of the old program, but we got to take a page out the book. It's really about observing what these kids are here to teach us.
Goddess
You want to talk
Radiant.
about the hospital rescue? I'm sorry. That can be for the Patreon. Never mind.
Radiant.
So, first of all, I want to start with I really respect everybody's perspectives and perceptions on rage. When the question was asked, my definition or what I know rage to be is more along the lines of a loss of control. And being that I don't believe that a loss of control is a negative thing always. I just don't, I hear everybody's perspective. And like I said, I think it's great. But when it comes to rage for me, I'm only going to talk about me. Rage is an indication to me that I've allowed something to go way too far ahead of me without dealing with it. Rage to me, of course, a loss of control in the sense that I'm not moving and doing what needs to be done from a grounded space. I'm doing it out of an emotionally unstable space. So I was really trying to follow y'all because I'm like, oh, they didn't put this in a real positive light. And I know that there's always a lot of the things that we call negative are really not negative things. But when it comes to rage, my experience has always been when that comes out, and then although some of it rightfully so, I have a right to be angry. I have a right to feel the way that I feel. But it came up before and I didn't do nothing with it. And then it came up again and I didn't do nothing with it. And then it showed up again. Then it sat at my table. It had dinner with me. It went to the family reunion with me. And because I didn't deal with the shit, now there's an explosion. And what happens in an explosion? There are casualties that happen. Other people get hit with it. And so for me, I'm not looking at the rage that I've experienced as, I'm not saying that some people didn't need to get hit, right, with the debris. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is for me, when rage shows up, that's an indication to me that, yeah, you ain't handling your business. You are not in alignment. For me. I don't know about other people, but for me, rage ain't where I'm trying to be. Rage tells me I'm so far out of alignment that I need to do a complete reset probably a few times. Like, cause why am I allowing myself to go to a space of being out of control where I don't even know? Cause most of the time when you're in rage, you blacking out. You don't even know where you going and what you doing or why you doing it until you come back to my experience, I'm saying. So for me,
Yeah.
I'm
So
not
we were
trying to.
commenting on that because she said sacred rage, which is
Okay.
different from rage, but
And maybe
still, yeah, it's still a suppression. that causes an explosion. And that's what we're speaking of, is that you have to express. You know what I'm saying? Like, or
Absolutely.
like you said, like, pound, pound, pew, pew. You know what I'm saying? It definitely has to be expressed. And the negative connotation that has been put on rage is why it's escalated to such a severe way of expression, because it's been the way it's been programmed in us. People have been holding on to it for so long until, like you said, motherfuckers black out and it's lights out for everybody around. You know what I mean? So no, we're saying the same thing.
Okay.
We don't
I
actually
think
want the volcanoes. We just understand why they happen.
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely like a volcano. But I think Radiant spoke on some very key points, dealing with rage, because yes, it is like you're not in alignment, you've been forgetting about yourself, but as you said, Fairy Godmother, it's the cycle, it's the conditioning that we were taught to suppress it for so long, and that's what makes it sacred, because that
Okay.
sacredness is a remembrance. So we've been so detached from like the totality of our essence, because of patriarchal rule, because of how we're supposed to show up with the family, as a mother, as a wife, as a friend. We've been so far out of line, out of alignment with self, that it became normal. So it is definitely different than regular rage, or just dealing with rage when it comes up. It has that sacred essence, because it's like, now it's time to remember, me in that fullness, in the darkness, within that feminine essence, and like bringing it
Yeah, and
to the
what you need
surface,
to
rebirthing that.
dismantle from the inside so that you can have that rebirth. That's what makes it so sacred. The
Yeah.
dismantling, the destroying, the breaking down. You know what I'm saying? All that shit up in there. All that shit, cutting through all that shit. And breaking that shit down so that we can start anew. We can have a new foundation, a rebirth, all the things. What the people
And
say,
it's not
resurrection.
it's not personal. It's necessary.
Okay. So, I still do want to talk about these emotions. Because this is a big thing in the discussion um, with women and men. And, ooh, scratch that. I don't want to talk about that no more. Let's talk about my favorite subject. Let's talk about sex. And so, okay. So there are a lot of people out here, and we are so, as a collective, like so separated from our heart spaces, right? That now we have everybody, like a lot of people, just in so much pain and detached from their heart spaces, that they're looking for these moments of some kind of pleasure, right? And so sex is that. And then so in the space of all this programming, of course it is so lucrative, right? To get the people in this space so that sex can be commercialized. So, how do we start to shift this balance? Because it's profound, right? It's profound right now. Like it's real deep up in these streets. I mean, I seen something come across the YouTube, and I felt like an old person. I mean, old. Like I was like, "Fuck is she doing?" You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that's her expression. That is cute. But baby talking about how many danglings she can take in a night and take them down and all the things. And I was like, oh shit, that's a lot of dangling.
Like war.
you know? And in my head, I'm like, that's a lot of dingling, that's a lot of energy, bitch. You're gonna feel bipolar when you wake your ass up. Let's talk about it.
So who's going first?
Whoever got something they feel they want to express.
So I don't know exactly what to chime in on. Yeah, I don't know what direction we're going in.
Take it there. I left it general for a reason.
Okay, well, I can't comment on the women talking about all the different phalluses and
I
I
like
think okay,
phalluses.
so we could go in on just the energetic exchange that happened with sex, with the sacred
Talk
energy
about it.
exchange. So when you land with somebody, you are not only opening up, your portal to a deeper level, but you're entering theirs and all of the energies that they have intertwined with as well. And sex is very much so spiritual. So you leave remnants of yourself with every partner that you have. And to be having multiple partners, like no wonder your mental is chaotic, because you having his thoughts, his problems, his depression, his childhood wounds, and then the women that he laid with and all of the chaos they may be dealing with. So I think like on a spiritual like hygiene level, like that's doing too much. We have to first find that sacred intimacy within self first before we can truly even connect with another on that level. And they have to be just as disciplined with their own sexual body, their energetic bodies. Um, yeah, it just sound like soul ties are real, and that just sound like chaos, and you set yourself up for a disaster trying to find something in somebody else. When again, like that, the true portal to that intimacy is within self first.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to fill that void.
Yeah.
I mean, we gonna just be real. We talking about healing. That's a clear indicator you got some shit going on. And it's about time you stop looking outwards and look inward and figure out what's that baggage. And it comes to a point where you, once again, you got to value yourself more because that energy exchange is a spiritual warfare. These entities will use that as an advantage to harvest your energy, to like literally turn your whole world upside down. Like it's a thing. You could be sleeping with the wrong person. What? You lose your house, your car, your kids, your everything. It's a thing. It spells. This shit is real. And kind of just knowing that, you know, you out here and you got to protect yourself. And it starts with what you're putting in your portal, who you're surrounding yourself with, because you got to be tired, right? A lot of people out here that are in those situations have been doing it for a very long time. This ain't your first rodeo. You've been on this choo-choo train for a quite long time, and it's time for you to get your monkey ass off. Okay? Go to the doctor. Let's handle some things and sit with that energy and see if you can find your damn self with all of that energy you just put up in your vessel. Because people can manipulate you so heavily, and especially once again, it kind of comes back to being a giver and not being in, a place of receiving. We don't know what it feels like. So we're misguided and thinking because somebody shows interest in us that's love. That's not love. Just because they want to lay down with you, that's not love. Once you learn what true love is, unconditional love of self, you'll start realizing that majority of these conversations and these people that you're attracting, you don't even like that nigga.
You don't even like him though.
Most of the time after you done did some shit, you're like, I can't believe I didn't fuck. Why did I do that?
What they call that
Why did I
postnut
do that?
clarity.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It hits
Like
you.
we gotta stop running. We be running from some stuff, man. And we unfortunately as women, we run right into the man hands. Whether you got daddy issues, mommy issues, it is what it is. But yeah.
Well, you spoke on the void, and that's the main thing. Like, there's definitely a void that people are trying to fill with themselves. So they end up avoiding more by sleeping with somebody else and sleeping with somebody else again. And they're constantly running from an aspect of themselves that is dying to be heard, dying to be addressed. Like, see me, like I mean, so many broken people that are trying to sex it away, like Solange say, um, and that just makes it way worse, So we have to just stop avoiding and running and seeing, what am I running from? Like, is it, a father wound? Is it a mother wound? Is it something from maybe my first love that broke my heart? Yeah, I see that cycle. I see a lot of hurt people being hypersexual, the most hypersexual. And they all tend to have had a lot of traumatic childhoods.
So I'm gonna piggyback off of what she was just saying. So yes, I have a few things to say. So when it comes to sex, absolutely, sex can be used as a coping mechanism. Um, I can't speak for anybody else on here. I'm only going to speak, like always, from my own experience. Sex is definitely a coping mechanism. And having to go into a space and find out why you are hyper sexualized. A lot of it, most of us, have been violated as children. And so our sexualities were awakened before we even understood what that looked like. Um, but to fast forward past that, when she said, let's talk about sex, my question was, do we even know what sex is? I very much so believe that it is a sacred space, right? So I like that was said. But we look at sex in the terms of physically being with an intimate partner. Um, I would like to further the thought with sex can be had without there being any type of physical contact. Um, we are out here having intercourse with all types of things. Um, we fucking pastors, we fucking teachers, we fucking, excuse my language. Let me
No,
use
you
that.
good, boo. You on my
We
platform. You good.
we are we are giving ourselves away to so many different things, um, that we're only looking at sex in one way. But whatever we are giving our intimacy away to is a form of sex. Who we're feeding our mind to, that's intercourse. So yes, being with all these extra partners, that's a thing. And I think a lot of us don't believe that soul ties are real. Um, but go do the research, because even the science proves it. For those of you who, don't think that it's a problem and that your DNA is not swapping and you are not leaving a part of yourself with another person, there is science behind that. Um, so yeah, do the research, because it's real. And when she was saying you wondering why your mental health is off, it's a real thing. Um, Now there are ways to disconnect yourself and untie yourself and, pull your body parts back, all those things, but that's also a process. Um, but sex is not just something to be doing to feel good. I think that's the main thing I want to drive. Sex, purpose of sex, and this is my discovery for me. I ain't never gonna tell nobody what they should think or whatnot. But for me, sex, the space of, I don't even like the word sex, for real, but it's a thing. It's the language
What you
that
like?
people
What you
use.
like? What you
I
like?
like intimacy.
The making of the love. What you like?
Yeah, because I'm a love maker. I don't know
Yeah.
about this other stuff that people be out here doing, because you can do a whole lot with love making, whether people realize that or not. Like, you don't, I'm not finna get in my bedroom. However, um, there's a lot that can happen with sex. Sex is like, I'm gonna call a birthing pool. Like, you're supposed to go in there with an intention to get a desired result with sex. Sex is not just like something that's supposed to be haphazard. And I'm not talking to you from a space of, I just been so sexually profound all my life. Nah, that ain't it. Because I wasn't her. I was the woman who, if I felt like you were the one, I was gonna allow myself to lay with you. Unfortunately, that was a thing. How, when you remember who the fuck you are, everybody ain't even welcome to the front door at the end of the day. But sex is just, it's very sacred. Like, the exchange, the things that you can create with sex, like, it is powerful, it is real, it is beautiful. And I wouldn't even say that I would require all these different things from somebody to be having sex with them. The only thing I'm requiring is alignment. Like, are we on the same page? Are we lying down for the same reason? Because if not, then it's going to be a problem. Because 9 times out of 10, if you're not protecting yourself, there may be. I asked if I lay down with the devil, if you want to be honest, because I just felt like, who did I sleep with? The things that I experienced during pregnancy, the trauma.
I was just about to say, who I make a baby with.
Yeah. Like, all those things, and not even to be putting anybody down, but those are real things. I even recall having partners where I was not comfortable with, right? And then I ran into someone, a special someone, who I knew that this was somebody that I was supposed to be connecting with on that level. And one of the indications to me was there was no pain. It was just right in every way. And so instead of playing Russian roulette with our pussy, right, we need to slow down and make sure that when we go into those sacred spaces, that it's for the right reasons. Because, yeah, that shit feel real good, but it could come with AIDS. It can come with gonorrhea. It can come with all these diseases and different things that a lot of times y'all don't even know that y'all got, because y'all really ain't going to the doctors getting checked out. Y'all just out here being reckless. And I'm saying y'all because it's a lot of y'all. Y'all having all these damn AIDS parties and all this different stuff. Like, your time is running short in this earth, like, straight up, because y'all playing with people's livelihoods. Sex is just not, it's not a toy. When you have sex from a space of a child, I'm gonna just say, or ignorance, you're risking your life. And if you don't want to live, don't kill somebody else with you. Go kill yourself. Respectfully. Like, and I don't mean to be so yeah, I do. I mean to say it just the way I said it. Like, it's people out here that want to
I'm
live.
sorry.
Huh?
I second that notion.
Yeah, like, it's people out here that want to live, and sex, we shouldn't be using sex as a coping mechanism, period. And I'm guilty of that. So there's no judgment. I'm saying it from a space of, I've come on the other side of this, and I have a different understanding and overstanding that is not what sex is used for. And if I'm honest, when I was out here doing what I was doing, I had knowledge of that. But because that shit felt good, literally for a moment, And a lot of us, and let me just say this, because I feel like I need to say this. Not I feel like, I know I need to say this. A lot of us is out here psyching ourselves out. A lot of them dicks that we riding on and all these things we doing, they ain't even good. But we telling ourselves they are because we don't want to disconnect from it. It ain't good. It ain't good for you. Ain't happy. You mad. You feeling unsatisfied, unfulfilled when it's over. But you tell, oh yes, baby, it was good. All the things. You lying. You lying. And just be honest with yourself, because it's better out there. It is. It's better out there. And the better is going to come with you being better. Because when your channels are clear, baby, that it hit different. It hit way different. Y'all ain't even begin to touch the surface on what it feels like to have that level of intimacy. And I know for all of you believers and Christians, that sex before marriage is not even just Christians. A lot of religions believe that sex before marriage is a crime. And I don't disagree in totality. What I will say is sex with multiple partners can most definitely ruin your life. It can mentally, emotionally, all of the things. Women, and this is me, I believe that men are not designed to have one partner. That's my thought. A lot of y'all women might be pissed off about that, but my opinion. It's my opinion. I do believe that women, if they so desire to have multiple partners, that's their prerogative. But I don't think we made up to just be over here, over there, and everywhere. My opinion. Again, that's my disclaimer. So yeah, sex is so fucking beautiful. Like on so many levels. Like, and when I'm talking about sex, I'll be having sex just at the thought.
We can tell.
Yeah.
That's when you know she has a good dick. Damn.
Some good sex. When a man, I'm having an orgasm when a man tell me love myself and take care of myself and treat myself right. And that's all I want from you. Girl, I'm all day. That's what make me wet. I don't know about y'all, but we don't use the tools that we need to use. Women used to be sapiosexual. Now we just hypersexual, mom and daddy sexual. We just play too much in these streets. I swear sometimes I don't even want to be in my humanness, like, because we just don't get it. But yeah, people.
Anybody want to elaborate?
I want to add in on that. I think a lot of women, because we are being called to go within into that darkness, into where our feminine is birthed. It's a lot of women that's still seeking attention and avoiding that space. Like they can't just sit with themselves. So the attention wants to be touched, like it wants to be seen. They want to settle for some mediocre peen, just because they're getting that attention. And it's that fear of just being alone. A lot of women are afraid that they won't have companionship, or they afraid to literally just sit with self, to love self, to like look at that inner mirror instead of looking for it outward. And we take on so much and accept so much from a man who is not healed at all. And I want to add on too, Rady. You said you feel like men are not meant to be like monogamous.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that to a degree, but I also feel like there is a man who is truly tapped in with himself and has broken through all his patterns and his cycles and get down to his own divinity. I believe that they can make that choice to focus on one energy. It doesn't have to be dispersed. But the average man is not equipped for that. But even with women, like we can have multiple lovers and not be sexual. We don't have to have sex with them, but we can love them fully and still show up and be in an intimate, platonic intimacy, you know what I'm saying, in that space with them, where we still have multiple love options, So I think that I don't think it's concrete. I think that it flows on both sides, but I do feel like men who are true to their path, true to knowing themselves and breaking the cycles within, they can rise to that space where they have that divine partnership or counterpart. But that's far and few, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, whoever else want to come on in.
Is
I've
anybody else?
definitely seen, and just coming up alongside, the my male counterparts. We were, of course, the girls. They were taught to, that our bodies are sacred, and everything that Radiant was talking about. We were taught all those things, and that we need to protect ourselves. But it feels like the boys and the young men and then the college students who I was, coming up right along with weren't getting that same kind of messaging. At least at the time, I didn't think they were, and now I really don't. So where they weren't protected in the same way that we were, didn't even think along those lines. So I know people in high school and college who were like, men who were like, oh, I lost my virginity when I was 6 years old. How? How is that possible? And that's not seen as a trauma. Or, oh, I'm 20 years old and I've had 200 partners. And then, and I would think, man, it's nobody is protecting them. And there's no way that somebody is going to want to be in a relationship with this guy when they find out, like, oh no, what's going to happen? Because some people have no problem letting others know that they're up into the hundreds because they're men, and it's seen as a good thing, or that they don't need to be protected. So I used to really be concerned about that. Did not consider the possibility that they were not going to be looked at as lepers. And they would just be able to go on and live, lives, and, have relationships and marriages and children, while still walking around with all this trauma. So I'm thinking about this next couple of generations coming up. It looks like a shit show. I I don't even know what the solutions would look like, for those children, because the messaging is it seems to be the same. We're not protecting boys, or we buy prostitutes for like that's a rite of passage situation. So, and now that I have, I'm very concerned about this next generation, and I don't know what that looks like. Who has boys? Mm.
Oh, I think Chandra is the only one. She got two boys.
Um, I really like that you went there. Because I have several, including my ex-husband, there's several guy friends that I have who later on in life realized that having intercourse at such a young age was not necessarily a rite of passage. Like they go through that same mental stuff that we have to fight through when we are violated. They just don't realize that it's a violation at first. So I really appreciate you bringing up the concern for that, because that's a thing. We focus a lot on the rest as we should as women, but that is a thing. The other thing I wanted to say about sex is, to the women that are listening, if you don't realize that that is a big component of where your power comes from, I feel like a lot of times women also want to have sex because it makes us feel powerful, right? When we're able to do certain things and get certain reactions from men, when we're in those unhealed spaces per se, or just recognizing reactions and things that, how it could make a man feel or behave given who that male is. A lot of times a mature man is not necessarily gonna fall for the okey doke of the sexual tricks, even though they might, initially they gonna realign real quick. But there is power. Um, there is like a power build up when you are horny, when you are feeling like you want to be intimate in that capacity. Pay attention to what's happening in your body, because that is a time where you need a release, right? And so the release don't always, I'm not telling people not to have sex either, but the release a lot of times, um it's tied to what we were talking about before when we were saying a lot of us are, using sex as a coping mechanism. We don't even realize it though. Like we just don't. We Most of us, I ain't even gonna say a lot of us, most of us don't realize that we're having sex for these reasons and we're hypersexual because of certain things that have occurred and things that have been unlocked in us, or we were exposed to some sexual things at a very young age. And so I just learned this thing about the power recently. There are teachings on it. There are people out here on YouTube. I'm gonna say I'm I'm trying to find the name of one of them in here somewhere so I can, give
No,
reference.
but
But
that's important.
yeah,
That's important, and these conversations like this is important, especially now with the younger generation. Like there are like at least, you know, especially around our age groups, we had the parental controls. Now it is so easy to pick up a phone and go to all the porn sites and all the things, you know what I'm saying? And so children are being exposed to sex, not just from violation, but from the media, and we're not dictating it. Like we're not orchestrating this conversation. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that that's where number one, as parents, as mothers, and as a community, we need to start this education ASAP.
yeah,
You know
that's a
what I'm
good point.
saying?
I want to
Yeah.
add something real quick. Um, I think that one factor that a lot of people forget is that we are co-creators, right? We derive from a place of connection, and we are very much disconnected at this time. And for a lot of these children and a lot of people that are coming into these spaces of awareness, they're looking for these connections.
Yeah.
And it, like you just said, it starts at home, but mommy doesn't have a connection. A lot of moms are disconnected from their children right now. They're disconnected from themselves. They're trying to figure this whole thing out. And what's the first thing we're gonna do? We're gonna find a connection somewhere else. So is really important to like harness these energies and find your tribe, find your tools, because idle time is the devil time. They say that shit for a reason. Cause soon as you sitting around, you bored, you looking for some action. You're looking for a connection. You're looking for a thrill. You're looking for your blood to be pumping right now. Because we are active beings. We need those connections. We need those activities. This is why it's important to be a part of a collective. Because it's our innate nature. We need
Yes,
it.
ma'am. Hmm.
So
Tamara,
yes, ma'am.
that is so good because you keep saying every time you say we're looking for a connection, that is just like vibrating to me, right? It's not even sex that we always looking for. We're looking for the connection. So that's like just so good. I love that you said that because a lot of times it's not about the sex. We think that
Exactly.
sex is going to connect us to that
Mm-hmm.
person. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
men can have sex and be so disconnected and they gone the next,
Exactly.
so what I guess what I'm saying to the people is that pay attention to the why we want to have sex, you know. And when we're feeling like we need connection, there are other ways to connect. And then with April, I mean fairy godmother. Let me address her properly on this platform, okay? What she said about us, you know, as a community, as mothers, being able to educate properly, because sex is not a bad thing. But a lot of kids rebel against us, or their parents, and go have sex because we have taught them that this is a negative thing or this is a bad thing. In religious communities, you see the kids rebelling against this stuff left and right because you keep telling them no, 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 you shouldn't be doing this. And it's not a matter of no, you shouldn't be doing it. There is a way that there is a conduct that you should have. We should be educating as to the why, not just saying
Exactly.
no, don't do it, and it's bad, and you're going to hell, and you're going to get a disease. Because there's plenty of these kids that have
They're gonna
jumped
do the
around.
opposite just because you said
Yeah,
it. I mean, we was
yeah. And
teenagers. How
so,
many times did you do shit just because? And then I remember being so dumb. Okay. I stayed with a dude 18, 19, 20, just because my mama told me it wasn't gonna work. It was obvious it wasn't working, you know? But just because she said it wasn't gonna work, I had to prove her. You know what I mean? So it's like having, like she said, sit down and have the conversation for real. You know, age appropriate for whatever age your child is, but we need to start having these conversations. That shit is important for them to understand their body and their temple and the respect, the honor, the praise, all the things.
yeah, I feel like this sex thing just like went really, yeah, we
But
just went
okay, let's, because I
so
got
yeah.
questions. So we was talking about the men's. I've heard this a lot. I've heard this a lot. Okay. Why is it like not a normalcy? It's normal for women, you know, be with one partner, be monogamous, but not for the men. Where does that theory root from? Anybody?
I don't know where the root is, but history has shown that most men, specifically biblically, historically, African American men, kings, like they've just never. Now they didn't lost their damn minds in the process. So wisdom would say that juggling multiple personalities of women can definitely cause a chain of reaction. So that's my only reference is history, right? I don't have another reference. I personally at some point in life felt like that's the way that it's supposed to be. But in my experience, I understand men who deal with poly relationships. Let me just say that. Um, yeah. So I don't think that it's always about the sex having multiple women, right? But if we're gonna stay in the lane of the sex, I do believe that just because you're poly or you believe in having taken multiple wives or whatnot, that there is still a conduct within that. I don't think men should just be out here slinging them balls everywhere. And yeah, no, I think something wrong with you if you doing that.
Not
Like,
the boss.
yeah, because so when I say it, I'm just saying what I've based upon what I've seen, and what I've read historically. That's the perspective that I'm coming from. But I do believe that there are men out here who want to hold that sacred space with just one woman. Um, do they always get to do that? No, we live in a world where even the men that want to be faithful to their wives is being attacked by 17 little shop of horrors. So they sometimes don't have a fighting chance in this earth. I'm being for real.
No.
And vice versa. Like
What you
it's
mean you
like
ain't got
that.
no I want to hear that shit.
Listen, it's out
Look,
here.
if
It's
I
out
can
here.
resist, anybody can do it, bro. Like you mean, like, come on, man. That's like
It's a false sense
uberly,
of power. I'm
yeah, that's
sorry.
uberly
Yeah.
It is.
superficial.
I mean, it's displacement. If you think about the history of the man, let's just be real. They have not felt at home for a very long time. There's a displacement in males where they feel as though the woman does not appreciate them. She don't really give a fuck. They don't want to hear my feelings because they've been shut down for so long. And it's the same thing with money. They use the same thing with money. They have a sense of false ideology of power, a false sense of power, and that is more addictive than any drug out here. Hence
Mhm.
the reason why they could turn their back on the woman they've been with for 20 years and then it's like it's over. Like what? Because you felt that sense of power that you lost over that course of time that you've been with that woman. They chasing a high. They chasing something that they know they deserve. And I hear that from men so much. I deserve more. I want this. Like, it's an imbalance within themselves that they're seeking outside of themselves.
Does male promiscuity predate patriarchy? Does anybody know the history of that?
I don't know, but my response was similar to Shamira's, because she spoke about the false sense of power, but I believe that this idea for men originated because of power and in times where men actually were in those roles, and even women. I mean, you have the polyandry as well. These are women who hold themselves in a certain amount of power where, you know, when you are mating with somebody, you're connecting and building that power. So I think that because it started maybe predating patriarchal times or whatever, I think that the men now are still trying to mirror that. They still want to have that power, but it's coming off very false, like she said. But that's where I think it originates from. I don't think that it was always that way from the beginning of time. I mean, granted, we've been listening to history, but her story predates all of that. You know what I'm saying? So I try to, I'm trying to unlearn and unprogram historical texts and stuff because it's somebody else's point of view. Somebody else writing it down. It's all coming from man, and man has had so much control of our minds that when we tap into our soul, like our soul will tell you that you have this counterpart here. So like you could feel the connection versus needing a sense of power to fill your cup up or to feel like you're doing something. So I would say power is the root of um, having multiple loves or lovers.
Mhm.
Even if you go back to like the Lemurian ways, like they talked about how kind of the piggyback off of the baby thing, they only had kids with a purpose when it was time for a new heir, when it was time for a new astrologer, when it was time for a new architect, when it was like it was only with with a purpose. But then the methods that they supposedly use was very degrading for a man. I mean, when you say that you come from me, I am the original, right? You come from me. We are one, but originally, right? And then you telling me I can only make kids, I can only build. So there's a place of devalue there too that a lot of men feel.
Hmm.
I tell you, shut the fuck up. Then I tell you, stop it.
And
You're
I
being
think it's
bad.
all strokes of the ego, if they're not receiving it in one place, they have to go feel it somewhere else. And the ego constantly needs pouring into, like it needs those pushes, those jumps, electricity. And they get it from every new portal they enter into. Now they got a new woman. Oh, now they feel amped up. I'm that man again. And then when they start not feeling like the man because now they start to sit in their shit, they need to go find the next. So I really feel like it is an imbalance, and they searching for something that they never find they're never satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Men that's like that, that's constantly chasing women, even all the poly men I know aren't satisfied. You know what I'm saying? I know quite a few poly couples, and it's not what they portray it to be, So yeah, I think that healing piece is what's needed, and men are way more disconnected than the women are, which is why we have this war and this competition now. Um,
War.
it's a straight war. It's a straight war, but it needs to happen. It needs to blow up and come to the surface so that we can truly rebuild. So this conversation here is super good and juicy.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Does anybody have anything they want to say?
Big Mama is back. That's what I'm gonna say. Big Mama is back to put them asses in check. So we are returning back to the original order, and we have to call things out and bring it to the light. Everything that's in the darkness, the conversations that people don't want to talk about, like we here to have them, because it is time to fully reassess and then realign. And I'm just grateful to be up here with these big mamas, you know what I'm saying? Because it's happening. And as we are deconstructing our own minds and tapping into our power, we're here to reflect that to everybody else.
Hmm. That's interesting because this just popped in my head too as y'all was talking about the masculine and being unbalanced and in this space of I really feel like not have been like nurtured a lot of these men and not have been in a space of allowing themselves to be nurtured because of all this programming. I mean, they literally have been programmed to shut down their emotions and feelings. Like that's pretty fucking deep. Um, that's deep. But okay, so this is a thing too, right? Because we be wanting the men to express and everything. But there's also that space. I mean, let's talk about it. If you got a dude that's crying all the time, like,
Yeah, I don't want no bitch ass nigga.
you know what I'm saying?
I thought I was on mute. I'm sorry.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with men expressing themselves, but if it's if it's just doing the most, yeah, nobody, not a man or a woman wants to hear that at this point. Like, no. I think there needs to be a balance with feminine and masculine energy when it comes to men and women. But I think that we hone in on one because we're told because we're females, we need to be more feminine. And then because we're males, we need to be more masculine when the balance of who we are only plays out properly when we are utilizing the both of them for what they need to be used for. Um, y'all excuse me for that outburst. It was very real.
No, but
It
that's a real fucking thing though. It's a real
is.
thing
It
because you
is.
want the men to express and all the things and have a safe space. But as soon as a nigga get to crying, it's like I ain't got no time, no bitch.
So no, for me, If he crying all the time, yes, I feel that very, very deep in my soul. I feel that. However, if it's just a man needing a space to be able to express and be a man, I'm a safe space for that. I don't know about other females because I know a lot of women who be like, nigga, if you don't leave me alone, like you a man, you ain't supposed to be like this and like that. Yeah, that's not real. They got emotions too.
Right.
They really do. And I'm saying we women as a whole, we didn't fuck these niggas up out here. For real, for real. We are responsible for a lot of this shit. And we like to talk about patriarchy and all these things and woman power and all the shit. But we didn't fuck these men up. And we just keep going. It's like a tornado effect that's going. We breaking their hearts, they breaking our hearts. Like this shit is wild out here. But it ain't just them. It ain't. It ain't. And like my friend said, we don't want no crybaby Negroes, but a lot of us is making these niggas cry. All you baby mamas that's being baby mamas, where these men just trying to step up and do what they need to do, and all you baby daddies that's being baby daddies, where these women is doing what they got, like all these things. These are things like, but if we just learn how to work together. I know all y'all don't want to work together for real because y'all like the drama y'all done been in y'all whole life because it feeds you. But this shit is real. We out here hurting each other and I'm Kumbaya. I'm Sister Kumbaya, radiant wisdom from
Lies.
the highest power. No. Oh, I'm with the nonsense in my past. This is a new day. Okay. I am very much so Kumbaya. I want to love and be loved. I want everybody to get love. That's part of my problem. Because I just feel like the fairy godmother, sprinkling love everywhere. And I see people for who I know spiritually they really are and that messes me up. Because I see people for who they are, but I don't take them at face value for who they are in front of me right now. And because I'm this lover and I'm seeing your potential and all the things
That's
and
the
you haven't
key, the
developed that,
potential. Yeah.
yeah, I'm getting killed off because you ain't got there yet. But I'm treating you like you there and I'm valuing you in that space. And then you end up being harmed when you are unable to take people for who they are right now in this space. And so I don't want to get off on a tangent because
Yeah.
I could do that. So
That's
Mama
funny that
T,
you
though.
say
Oh, go
people
ahead. I'm
seeing
sorry.
men for the potential. And I know it's vice versa, but it's crazy because just
Most
being in the
women.
space that we are in now, realizing that we were just speaking to their higher selves. We were seeing their higher selves and realizing that we are the portals. They got to come through us, right? We are the portals. We are the opportunities in order for them to ascend. So a lot of times when those mother wounds have not been healed, when we're going into this matriarch, they got to come through a woman womb
Yes.
in order to heal. It ain't got to be her physical womb, but her presence. That's her energy. That's her love. And we got to find that empathy for these men because they need it. That's the only way they're going to ascend too. But I just want to put that out there.
No, I definitely feel it starts with us. I used to have that. Y'all know I used to be an egomaniac back in the day and all the things. So I did honestly used to feel that within my vessel. Like I can't have a man more emotional than me. Like that's not gonna, and then it turns into I just can't have me a man that just be up in here crying like that. You know what I'm saying? But when you grow to me, when you grow to a certain level of awareness and you get to certain experiences of healing in your own journey, I don't feel that that's a hard space to hold for the masculine in those times. I feel like it's actually honorable to be the vessel that they allow themselves to be that strong because vulnerability is strength like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who has been on that journey for real and is vulnerable, that's some strong ass shit. Like, you feel me? Go ahead, Elsa.
So I was gonna piggyback off of Radiant, and I was kind of losing my thought, but it reminds me of like you said, the men who cry a lot. Like I noticed that they have mother wounds, and like that's their first heartbreak is with the mother, which is why they have such a tainted relationship with women in their life in general. Um, unless they manipulate him, because it's men that has learned the manipulation game with throwing them tears up there, thinking that that's how they win the battle with women. So I want to call that out too. But oh, what was I gonna get at? Yeah, just like okay, so as women, we don't want to be no man's mama. But unfortunately, we will always be mama. And I think we try to run from that role still. Like men still need that safe space. They still need their mama. They still need the nurturing. And we feel like because you're a grown man, I'm not about to give that to you. And I think that's something as women, that's something that we have to heal within ourselves as well. Because no matter how much you're trying to run from it, we gonna always be mama. Whether his mama is physically here or not, you're gonna be that man's mama.
I think it's just a different like definition. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been in that space where I'm like, I'm not no nigga mama for real. Meaning like I'm not about to be telling you you gotta wash your ass. You need to, all your responsibilities as a man. Like I'm not about to be raising no man, not in that way.
Yeah.
But will you always be mama, meaning nurturing,
And that's
loving
it,
on
yeah.
that man, like
Emotionally.
emotionally?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So like, yeah, they need that space to emote as well. Just how we feel emotions in a moment and we want to cry it out. Like men are so backed up. Like literally, because they've been taught since a little boy, 2-year-old little boy, stop crying, shut the fuck up, man up, and they were never given that space to express that. So it does tend to come out when they are in a sacred space with a sacred woman and they feel safe enough to express themselves, the emotions gonna flow. So just I guess having that discernment and realizing and understanding that this man is safe enough to talk about things that he ain't talked about before that made him feel some type of way and he needs to talk those emotions. But again, just be wary of the men who also have studied women so much to know that I can manipulate you with these emotions too. Or I can get what I want with you if I just cry. So it's a fine
Yeah, I
line.
think that's
It's
that
love
that'd
or
be that
war.
definition of that bitch ass nigga shit right there.
Yeah.
You know
I've
what?
definitely had to deal with that, and it was manipulation through and through.
Yeah, we got time for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have some questions from the audience. And how do we bring awareness to women that sex is more than feeling good? Because most women feel that if an orgasm is achieved, then they are winning. Ow. Anybody want to tackle that? You want me to ask the question again? How do we bring awareness to women that sex is more than feeling good? Because most women have an orgasm, they think they winning.
I think we just went through that when we were expressing that sex is more than just a feeling. Um,
The intimacy and all the things.
It's more than a performance. A lot of
yeah,
people go in to perform and to reach the end goal, but it's everything in between and before the bedroom. Like it's way deeper. It's truly that connection, that intimacy, the being able to just feel safe where every single one of your barriers is like let down. But you can't just get that with anybody. So I think a lot of people are trying to achieve just getting a rocks off, and I think that's conditioning. Like we've been conditioned to just say if I could bust real quick, or I could ski ski. I mean, I did it. I got my, release, but that's such a temporary fix.
And
And
that
I
shit
think,
only lasts a
like you
few
said,
seconds.
we need to
So
talk about it.
temporary.
Yeah, it's so temporary, and it don't last at all, and then you're right back looking for that high again. And I mean, I can agree, like, going into those realms, you are literally experiencing ecstasy. So some people just use it to escape. That used to be me, you know, wanted to do it all the time because I enjoyed being in that realm. Like I wasn't here with this bullshit. So as long as I'm in the clouds, like I was good, but that's running from yourself still, So yeah.
Yeah. How does
Wait, if you
emotion go ahead? Who's that
Oh,
to?
I was about to say, if you have reached this channel, that's because you're desiring healing. Learn your love language, yo. Something simple as that. Learning whether you need affirmation or you need touch and, kind of going from there and start giving it to yourself before you go, get that yum yum. See if you can get it from you first. Like, I mean, I can't help but go back to it's the small things,
Yeah.
knowing thyself and knowing your love language. Because if you know what you're looking for and you know you really don't want to make that phone call and what's your natural default? Is
You.
that your natural default? Okay, so check that shit. No, really don't want to call him. No, I don't want to do it. Okay, so you know you want to be touched right now. How can you fulfill that? Maybe you just needed laughter. It led to sex, but it was that laughter you wanted. That nigga make you laugh every single time y'all connect. You need laughter in your life. Sometimes the answers are right in front of us, but we so caught up in the emotions, we not identifying them as red flags. We just running with the emotion. Like, nah.
I'm just
Take your
reacting.
time. Exactly. Just reactive. Exactly. Start doing things with a purpose and start tracking yourself so that you can know why you moving the way you moving and what you really desire. Because that nigga ain't it. He's just fulfilling you for the moment.
It ain't even fulfillment. It's a quick fix.
That part.
It's
She said, "'Cause I'm
self-medicate.
doing
Yes. Oh, but I love that though, because that is such, I mean, I know it's been over popularized and all the things, but that five love language test, like, oh, and they didn't switched it up. Back in the day when I took it, they gave you like your top three or it went down the line. Now I think they just give you one or whatever. But that shit is profound. Cause my shit is quality or touch, personal touch, whatever that shit is, and quality time. Ugh. We like to touch.
So I also think it's more so of understanding what pleasure is to you, because pleasure doesn't have to be sexual. For me, it's just eating some sushi, and I just be like, ooh, and just get it off of
Yeah.
your body. You know what I'm saying? It could be music. It can be sitting in the sun reading a book, like things that bring you pleasure. And we tend to only think that we could get pleasure in the bedroom, and that's
Mhm.
furthest from the truth. So truly knowing thyself, like our sister Shamira said.
Yes. Okay, next question. How does emotional incest between parent and child contribute to hypersexuality?
Oh,
What just dropped in my spirit was not only have I seen, from the child looking at the son, like that's her husband or that's her, whether he left or he's still there, is I've seen the inappropriate projections of those thoughts and feelings on that child.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that is like I get it. I always see it from both perspectives, but this is where it's like the discernment, where the love, like you gotta utilize this energy the right way because the energy is there. It's always going to be there. But it's how you do things, how you go about this stuff. But yeah, that was like the top thing because I used to work in schools and I used to watch these moms like, what are you like? That's not your dude.
That's not
And
your
then vice
man.
versa.
oh,
Exactly. Like, and then vice versa, like I can't. get past the idea of, touching on a little girl, like, what the fuck, and for a little boy. But I've noticed the dads, wanting to do something for the little girl that they didn't get a chance to do for mommy. It's like that thin line between showing her what a man is supposed to provide for her versus what you're providing for her. It's like the boundary gets crossed
Yes.
somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's no discernment or emotional intelligence with the man when it
Mm-hmm.
comes down to the child. Because I've
Mm-hmm.
watched men with huge hearts. You're a lover. You're a
Mm-hmm.
lover. How you cross that line?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then hurt people hurt people. So
Well, just the
I
boundaries, though. I thought that was key because I hate to say it, but I know women who have been um, touched or molested by their father.
mm-hmm.
Um, and I think the hypersexuality that comes from there is just because the one relationship where you learn boundaries has been crossed. So now you don't even know what a boundary is. Like everything is free game now. Like you never experienced that protection. You never knew what was off limits. So going out into the world, it's a free for all. And I think that's where that's hypersexuality come from because that boundary was never existing in the first place.
That boundary, and then depending upon the dynamics. I've had a space or been around someone where they were violated by their father and they loved their father, you know? So that hypersexuality is that love, you know what I'm saying? It's still, and then the father, come to find out, the father was violated as a child, by someone that loved them. You know what I'm saying? So as a little one, your mind is not computing like that. You know what I'm saying? And then so as you get, especially, we know what's popping. We from these so-called urban communities. You know what I mean? Like, so mommies is out here 11, 12, and that shit stays with them until, you know, they have this awakening of why they're doing what they're doing. Because otherwise, you just on autopilot. So it's like love equals sex, man, you know? It's like it's this formula. Oh, that was deep. I felt
Hurt
all the
people,
energy.
hurt people.
Hurt people hurt people. And then even for the men too, like
I don't,
unfortunately.
I don't hear as much incest with mothers with sons, although I think that boundaries always cross with love and like affection to your child. But I do know of men who have seen like just their mother kind of reckless with her sexuality,
Be reckless. Mm-hmm.
and that hurts them deeply. So then they have their own view about women after that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know one gentleman who he witnessed his mom because she was on drugs, like masturbate in front of him and his brother. But like that's the furthest that I've heard. But it's not like men do take it too far with their little girls or little boys. I'm not gonna take the little boys out of it. Um, yeah, it's sad. It's like these people still grow up still loving their parent
Of
and can't
course.
cope with they can't cope with seeing them as a predator or healing that part of themselves, so they still
Mm-hmm.
stuck in it. It's like I still love my dad, but he did this to me when I was younger. But I love
Mm-hmm.
him. Let me go over here and bring him some food, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
but he was your abuser. So those are the people that I hold space with the most. That I'm. It's hard to get them to awaken or to heal that part, because
No,
they
but I
operate
mean, because
blind.
I've dealt with this a lot. Like my
Mhm.
fucking family, like fucking normalcy with and to watch my cousins like go take they dad a plate, or watch him direct, all the things. I've had women close to me that, have been violated by their dads. Same thing. Like, I get it. I get it. Like, And what be crazy about it is it don't be these absentee dads though. You know what I'm saying? It be the dads that be right up under it, so you got to
America.
experience the presence of the father. You know what I'm saying? Him taking care of you, taking care of the house, and violating you all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So this is their foundation. This is their, you know, and it's like, it's not that they don't register. It's not that they don't register. Because I know personally motherfuckers who register where they've been through the hypersexuality, some prostitutes, drug addicts, the whole nine. They come to the healing space of it, recognize that what happened was wrong, violated, all the things, but still have the love because it was love there. It is love. That's their parent. Like, it's a difficult conversation, but it is what it is. And this shit happens. That's what I mean. Like, you get compassion, you have compassion and you have empathy. And especially in these cases where I've dealt with these women that have addressed it, you get into these spaces where you hold compassion for the person that violated you. You hold empathy for the person that violated you. Just because of where their level of awareness was,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm. Hmm.
All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all goddesses so much. I feel like this was amazing. My heart feels full and everything. So I would like for each of y'all to send us out with a little message for the people.
Knowledge of self is the foundation of life.
She can
Came in and dropped the mic. I love it. Hot fire. Hmm.
Fly light, fly with a purpose, and don't be scared of the darkness.
Mm.
Oh, it was said all right there. Goodness.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I was gonna say to lighten your heart, and don't be afraid to sit still with self and identify what you feel because it's here to bring you some type of information that you need, whether it's to gain wisdom or whether it's to fully release it. But be gentle with yourself and just allow yourself the space and time to feel your heart and clear your heart.
Mama T, you over there?
I
Um,
am here.
can you send the people out with a message? T Boogie.
We are. Can you still see me?
No.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. It got dark.
There we go.
Sorry about that. I was trying to make some light from the phone. We are all co-creators, and the exploration is finding out why and what for.
Hmm. Are you complete?
Thank you.
Never really, but sure.
I want to thank all these beautiful goddesses again. Thank y'all for holding space with me, for me. I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for jumping off the cliffs because nobody knew why the fuck they was coming up here. They just came. I love my goddesses. I love
We
y'all
love
so
you.
much.
Love y'all.
We thank you for loving us.
Yes.
Flying.
Peace, love, and